Good afternoon, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the first virtual session of APSA technical session. So we just start the broadcasting system. So we are waiting for a few minutes so that we can have more participants who join. So up to now, we have 24 attendees. All right, so I just would like to share with you easy housekeeping rule. So we are hosting the webinar online. So it's the video, the camera of everyone is off and everyone is actually on mute automatically. So if you wish to put the questions during the session, you can do so. You will see the box called Q&A, right, in the tab. I hope you see that. So if you have any questions during the presenter is presenting their information, you can put your question in Q&A box, because if we have time after each presentation is finished, we will take few questions to be answered by the speaker. Otherwise, we can keep all your questions to be answered later when we share the summary of each section. All right. For any technical issues that you are facing, either if you cannot hear the voice or if you face any connection issue, you can put in the chat box. I hope you see the chat box also, right? So there are two functions, chat box and Q&A box. So all the questions, please make sure you put in Q&A box, all right? For any other technical issues, please put in the chat box, okay? So we are going to start soon. We have now reached 230 attendees. Okay, I think we are quite ready with 30 participants. So first, today is the first session, so it's our honor actually to invite our president, Mr. Tahir Salimi. So he would like to give an open remark, as this year we cannot host a physical congress, but we're very thankful for all our SIG and SC committees that they still make the technical session possible. So with that, I would like to invite Mr. Tahir Salimi to give an open remark for APSA technical sessions from 23 to 25 November. Mr. Tahir, please.
Thank you, Dr. May. Distinguished guests, APSA Executive Committee members, APSA members, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, and Assalamu Alaikum. Welcome to APSA 2020 virtual technical sessions, which are being organized in lieu of our annual in-person technical session that usually happen in parallel with the Asian Seed Congress. As you all know, that Asian Seed Congress for 2020, which was initially planned and scheduled to be held this month in Shenzhen, China, had been cancelled due to the uncertainties about travel restriction related to ongoing COVID-19 situation. As soon as APSA Executive Committee and office bearers made the decision to cancel the Congress itself, we knew that there were specific crucial elements associated with the Congress that must continue regardless of travel restrictions. These include the annual general meeting and our technical sessions. The AGM will also be held virtually on November 26th, and I will talk more about this in a bit. Meanwhile, for the next 3 days from 23 to 25th November, we will be having 5 virtual technical sessions organized by our 3 standing committees and 2 special interest groups. We begin today with our first session from the Standing Committee on International Trade and Quarantine. This will be followed by our second session 3 hours from now by our Standing Committee on Seed Technology. Then tomorrow afternoon, our third session will be with our Standing Committee on Intellectual Property Rights and Biodiversity. Our 2 sessions on Wednesday, November 25th, will be with our Special Interest Group on Field Crops, followed by the Special Interest Group on Vegetable and Ornamental. Let me take this opportunity to thank all of our standing committees and special interest groups, chair co-chairs, and all the committee members who have worked so hard all year long to plan and prepare for these sessions. We have some interesting presentation, speakers, and discussions lined up, spanning a wide array of topics that will keep our members informed of the latest developments, trends, and positions of the Asia Pacific seed industry. For the full agenda, schedule, and program, please find them on APSA website under the events menu. There is technical session link with everything there. Aside from this, I would also like to bring your attention to virtual networking session, which will follow the technical sessions on all 3 days. These sessions, which are organized in collaboration with SeedWorld, are free for all active APSA members who have registered for the technical sessions. While we don't expect this to completely replace the physical in-person networking, which we hope to have again in near future, at least for the time being, it will provide a safe and convenient channel and platform to keep engaged with each other. So please take the opportunity to drop by and say hello there. Finally, I would like to remind you once again about APSA upcoming AGM on Thursday, November 26th, which starts at 1 p.m. ICT time, which is 11 a.m. in Pakistan, 11:30 in India, and 3 p.m. in Tokyo or 5 p.m. in Melbourne, for example. Please make sure you are registered and ready to exercise your vote and rights as an APSA member. All details can be found in the members area of the website, and the APSA Secretariat is standing by to assist you in case of any help. I can't stress enough how important this meeting is for all of our members to actively participate in the decision-making process so as to improve and advance APSA's operations, and thus better serve you all. As representatives and stakeholders of the Asia Pacific seed industry, we have several important agenda items to go over, including an election, vote to amend the constitution, adopt a position paper, new membership fees, and welcoming our next president. So please make sure to be there. With that, I look forward to engaging with you all online here in the coming days, and look forward to having the opportunity to meet you all in person once again when the situation allows us. Hopefully sooner the later. Shukriya, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Tahir Salimi, APSA President. So as today's session is the session hosted by our APSA Standing Committee on International Trade and Quarantine. Next, I would like to invite Mr. Michael Leader, our chair of the ITQ committee. Mr. Michael, please.
Thank you very much, May, and good evening from Melbourne, Australia. Good afternoon in Southeast Asia and Northeast Asia. Good morning, India, Pakistan. I think it's very early in Europe in the morning. So thank you very much to those that are joining and our speakers for this session today that are coming from there. And I believe it's still yesterday, still in the United States. So appreciate those that are dialing in from that side of the world as well. Thank you everyone for joining this particular session of the Standing Committee on International Trade and Quarantine. It's an honor to be chairing the first session, the first technical session for this year. Sadly, we can't be in person, but we hope to still have some good discussions and interesting topics for us to debate. It's honor as well to have been elected chair of this standing committee, and I hope to do my best and to do the position proud. I do want to take this time to acknowledge and thank the previous chair, Rajveer Rati, for his efforts and dedication to this role. But I'd also like to thank the Secretariat, sincere thanks to the Secretariat for their support in organising these sessions and for me personally since coming on to the role. We have a great session today. We're going to hear about the Asia seed industries contributing to sustainability and delivering for our smallholder farmers here. It's never been more important as now, obviously, as we've become to realise just how important food security is. We'll also hear, though, about how we can hopefully do better on this by working and partnering with governments in the region so that farmers can access the best quality seed when they need it and where they need it. We're going to hear firstly about how we can facilitate seed health testing to help market access and speed up access to good quality seed. Secondly, as we're coming, I guess, becoming of more importance as a result of the COVID pandemic, that seed is a vitally important, seed is life really, and is such an important aspect to food security. We've got to use that particular momentum as we come out of this pandemic to carry forward better solutions to allow seed trade to continue. And we'll hear from the OECD seed scheme on some policy parameters and aspects that may be useful there. And thirdly, by moving forward with transparency and harmonisation efforts that APSA has been leading here with governments on phytosanitary import restrictions in the region, hopefully we can do better as well. And we'll hear an update on activities in that area as well. We'll also stop and have some time for questions and answers if we have time at the end. We'll also try and canvass views on our 2021 priorities for this standing committee. And we'd love to hear your views on that and get you to engage in a poll on that too, that my colleague Marianne will help facilitate there. But before we get stuck into the agenda proper, I believe May would like me to provide a presentation as well, just on an overview of the committee. May, I don't know if you've got that slide deck there. Oh, thank you very much for that. I won't take up too much of your time on this, but I think in all of these aspects, each of these standing committees and groups will provide an update on where we're up to, but also reminding participants and APSA members of our structure and priorities. Remember that really APSA exists because of you, because of the members and the General Assembly that votes the executive committee and the board to help run the everyday, the everyday running, to look after the everyday running of the group. We also have 3 standing committees, as you see there: International Trade and Quarantine, which we're at today, and 2 others there, as well as some special interest groups as well, that look after some of the priority areas for those particular special interests there, the vegetables and the field crops. Our priorities for APSA: intellectual property, plant variety protection, and seed movements. In relation to the international trade and quarantine aspect, this standing committee, that's okay, public, you can keep going, Ray. We'll just go through our goals. We were actually working on this, that Dr. Ruddy as chair had started working on this previously, but I think we've got them really working on now. Really, our goals are to promote global and regional seed trade policy alignment among governments, to partner with and build capacity of national plant protection organisations, NPPOs in the region, really to adopt and enforce established seed trade policies on here and to really help facilitate seed movement. Importantly, we want to be an effective channel for the seed industry where there are phytosanitary issues and other non-tariff barriers that are affecting our ability to move seed in and out of the region. We want to help national seed associations in these areas as well, to help with advocacy tools, but also with education too. And we can't forget, we know that this is important, but we will provide virtual in-person networking opportunities as well for members. We know that this is important too. Next slide, please. Our key activities that we see at the moment are really in 6 buckets, if you will. I think a new one that's come on the scene, but really is quite, we have a few governments looking on it, but it really is advocacy for science and risk-based regulations of new plant breeding innovations, because that may also have our ability to import new germplasm and good quality seed into the region if regulation is not appropriate or harmonized in that aspect. Importantly, it's to promote ISS trade rules in the region and ensure proper dealings between companies and a way of addressing disputes. A regional phytosanitary response team really to address emergence of new pests or issues that are affecting our ability to move seed in the region. You'll hear about the annual phytosanitary expert consultation that we have, but really that is about trying to get and start and continue a dialogue with governments on the movement of seed. And that has been successful over the last few years that we've held it. We want to do capacity building workshops and study tours, as we mentioned, and you'll probably see more of that in 2021 when travel is obviously allowed again. But also investigation, the potential for market statistics database, or ability to really keep some clear advocacy points on what the market for seed looks like in the region. So they're really the 6 buckets, and you can see that it's great to see all of our members, our standing committee members here today, but we have a fairly significant group there, including observers. And we have this year, I guess without meeting face to face, but we've been kept in regular, and with the COVID issues we've had with seed movement, we've kept the number of meetings have definitely increased this year. And I want to thank all of them for their efforts in doing that. Really in 2020, you'll see that we have conducted the phytosanitary expert consultation meeting, and we'll hear a report on that from May. I think she may also touch on a funding proposal that we've submitted to the Standard Trade Development Facility of the FAO in collaboration with some key governments in the region, which will hopefully provide us some funding to progress some of the work coming out of the expert consultations we've had. That's a positive development to try and implement things like e-phytos, but also transparency on phytosanitary requirements. We look to progress that in 2021. We've continued sharing major phytosanitary updates that have happened, whether it affects it's in the region or affecting ability to move seed out of this region. We've heard some examples there with regulation of tomato seed in the EU, some brassica and other aspects in Australia, cucurbit regulation, and also possibly biowood regulations in the US. We supported the ongoing development of a regional standard that continues to try and be worked through the Asia Pacific Plant Protection Commission, and there's still work to do on that, but hopefully there will be guidelines that will come out that governments can use to try and review their pest risk analyses and their requirements for moving seed. I don't know, I mean, if people remember, but this year is actually the International Year of Plant Health as well, 2020. I think a lot of significant events were organized that have not been able to go ahead. The United Nations, the FAO have actually sort of, I guess, extended that for another 6 months into 2021 as well. And we'll look to progress a program there. This was meant to be something we were going to be doing as a theme this year as well at our meeting. But what we hope to really probably next year is to look at recognizing a key plant pathologist and entomologist in the region that's produced and done some significant contributions to plant health. We've also organized, as you know, the ABSA virtual technical session where we're here today, and we've been doing and monitoring communication impact of COVID-19 on seed movement, and you'll have seen and participated in the surveys on that aspect as well. So I think with that, just before we get started on the session proper, just a reminder, I think the Secretariat, as I've said, have been doing a great job, and they now actually on the website, if you log in through the member login area, you can actually get access to all of the special interest group and standing committee documents, minutes of the meetings, the activities, participants, all of those things are now available through the member area. If you are missing something or want to catch up on a position paper or some aspects, please feel free to go and have a look at that. So thank you very much for listening to me on this. Thank you very much for the opening words from our president as well. And now, without any further ado, we'll get, I'd like to invite Ms. Arti Mizal, the senior researcher from the World Benchmarking Alliance, to present today. Welcome. Thank you very much. I think Arti has worked for several seed companies based in India and has experience in providing market intelligence data for a number of companies involved in food, beverages, seeds, and other agricultural commodities. We look forward to hearing her presentation on the first Regional Access to Seeds Index for Southeast and South Asia, and again another one I understand that's in the process. So Adi, thank you very much. You have the floor.
Thanks, Michael. Thanks so much for the introduction. And I would like to also thank APSA for giving Access to Seeds this platform as we also launch the Regional South and Southeast Asia report today. And I will also take you through the process of development of the third Access to Seed Index, which is due to be launched in 2021. So thank you. And can we start the presentation, please? Yes, next slide, please. Thank you. So increasing smallholder farmer productivity is key to achieving zero hunger, the second sustainable development goal. The Access to Seed Index aims to encourage seed companies to do more to achieve this goal. A good crop starts with quality seeds, and improved varieties have enabled farmers to triple their yield. What is the seed industry doing to enable smallholder farmers to achieve similar results in the developing regions? So the Access to Seed Index aims to shine a light on this question. It assesses leading seed companies, it highlights good practices and areas of improvement, providing an evidence base for the discussion on where and how the seed industry can step up their efforts. The Access to Seed Index has published 2 editions, the first one in 2016 and the second one in 2019. The third index is set to be launching in 2021. Thank you. Next slide, please. Since 2019, the Access to Seed Index has integrated with the World Benchmarking Alliance. The World Benchmarking Alliance has been recognized as a key accountability mechanism by the UN Food Systems Summit. Businesses are key to achieve the UN Sustainable Development Goals. And the benchmarks that are published by the World Benchmarking Alliance, they measure and compare company performance on the SDGs. They are free and publicly available and can be used by various stakeholders, such as companies and investors, to take informed decisions. These benchmarks also recognize leadership and they create accountability. Next slide, please. Thank you. So the first South and Southeast Asia Index was published in 2019, and it assessed 24 leading seed companies for their activities in the region. The top 10 companies are as shown in the figure on the slide, and overall, the results have shown us that the 5 highest scoring companies are the ones that are globally active, with East-West Seeds ranking first. The companies at the bottom of the index generally scored low because of limited availability of information for their efforts for smallholder farmers. I would also like to take this opportunity to encourage all seed companies who have been selected for the 2021 index to engage with us and to provide us with information that would enable us to paint a true picture of the seed industry in the region. Next slide, please. Thank you. Although smallholder farmers dominate the landscape of the South and Southeast Asia region, the first assessment indicated that majority of smallholder farmers in the region are yet to be reached. The 2019 index evaluated companies on 7 measurement areas as indicated on the slide. The first evaluation of the 24 leading companies in South and Southeast Asia showed us that the industry is present in all countries. It is highly research driven and it demonstrates to have activities that are tailored to the needs of smallholder farmers. At the same time, the index also highlighted many issues that would need additional attention in the coming years. Next slide, please. Thank you. So the second access to seed index, the sorry, the second access to seed index for the South and Southeast Asia is set to be launched at the UN Food System Summit. In terms of scope, we have added Malaysia to the geographic scope, and the number of companies have been increased to add 7 more additional companies to the scope, making the total number to 31 seed companies to be evaluated for the region. The companies that have been selected for the index have been selected based on the following criteria. The companies that need to have regional presence or a regional influence, the companies that have physical presence and business activities in the region, the companies that have integrated seed business model, and the companies that have been recognized as leading by their peers. Next slide, please. Thank you. For many months now, the world has been facing an unprecedented situation. The COVID pandemic has impacted the seed industry in many ways. In close consultation with the World Benchmarking Alliance, the Access to Seed Index is determining how the impacts of the pandemic and the corporate responses should be addressed in the 2021 Access to Seed Index. Next slide, please. Thank you. With this slide, I would like to share the timelines for the third Access to Seed Index that is due to be launched in 2021. The scope of the index that includes the geographic scope, the countries that have been included, the crops that have been included, and the companies that have been included for the 2021 index has been launched early this month. The regional landscaping reports will be published, and the first one, the South and Southeast Asia Regional Landscaping Report, will be launched today. The methodology is being reviewed and will be open for public consultation in December. The data collection and analysis is scheduled for March 2021, with the index itself being launched at the UN Food System Summit. I would also like to take this opportunity here to invite all interested stakeholders to provide their feedback on the methodology, which will be available next month for public consultation. Next slide, please. So the South and Southeast Asia Landscaping Report, which I mentioned in my previous slide that we launched today, it gives an overview of the seed industry in the region. It also includes the main seed industry players that have been identified for benchmarking in 2021. The link will be shared in the chat box as I speak. Next slide, please. Thank you for listening to our presentation. And if you have any questions regarding Access to Seed Index, please feel free to contact me or Alice Ingabire, who is leading the engagement for the Access to Seeds Index. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. I think, yeah, it was a very interesting one the first time up, and it's great to be able to see how we are contributing to smallholder farmers. I don't see any questions. I do see that the link has come up in the chat boxes. Thank you. I might just wait a couple of minutes and see if any come in. I do have a question though while we wait. You did say it was available next month for public consultation. Is that the draft? Can you just, yeah, how would that work? On that
so yeah, after every cycle of the index, we review the methodology based on the feedback from stakeholders and also the companies themselves. So based on that, we review the indicators, and we will be publishing a draft methodology for public consultation in December, and we give a 1-month window where it is open for public consultation, and the final methodology will be published in February, which would incorporate all the feedback that has been received in the coming months.
Okay, well, that's it. Thank you. Yeah, so you might change the methodology based on that consultation. That's interesting.
Yeah.
And do we have any questions from anyone in the chat box there? It's still a bit quiet there, I think. There's a thank you for a good afternoon, everyone, and thank you very much for listening to experienced speakers. So that's good, Auntie.
Michael, sorry, we received one question though in Q&A box. Where do you get the contacts for each of the companies? I believe for the survey.
Is there any criteria? That's just come up on mine as well, correct? Yes, we have one. Is there any criteria that for seed companies to participate in this survey?
We have a criteria that I shared in the presentation below. So we select these companies based on desk research, and we also discuss these companies with our expert review committee for their feedback. And based on that, these companies have been selected. So with every cycle, we add additional companies to the index. So definitely, if any company is interested, please feel free to get in touch with us, and we will see if we can incorporate additional companies in the next cycle.
Thank you. We'll have time for one more, I think, and then if there is any more written in there, there's others coming in. You've started the ball rolling, yes. I think now.
We have one more. Ati is getting. I think we received more questions. So the next question is, where are the changes in the methodology compared to the previous editions?
Yes, so we work with the World Benchmarking Alliance, as I mentioned in my presentation. So in order to, we try a lot to align also with the World Benchmarking Alliance, because we know that companies that are included in many initiatives, we try our best to reduce the reporting burden for these companies. So we try to align wherever possible. And in terms of changes to the methodology, not many changes have been made. We are conscious that this is the third index. We also want to make sure that the comparability between the previous index and this one. So we've tried to not make major changes, but at the same time align wherever possible with the World Benchmarking Alliance. So when the methodology is available for public consultation, please give us feedback so we can improve it together.
Ati, sorry, Michael. Ati, is there, say, for example, perhaps we can add more information also to our members under our collaboration moving from January 2021. And definitely we will add this to ITQ committee.
Yes, sure, Dr. Lee.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you. Please, Michael, thank you.
Thank you, May. No, thank you, Adi. I think clearly there has been some interest on there, and I think that's a good idea to try and get some information out on the background and things more following on your presentations. Thank you. Really appreciate your time today. We might move on in the interest of the next agenda item, though, which I think I might actually pass it on to introduce this session. I think it's really on third-party laboratory accreditation for phytosanitary purposes, something we did do in the phyto expert consultation, that we did produce a video to try and explain the ways that this happens in other countries, and it was a very hard work from my co-chair, Abigail, and I might pass it on to her to maybe to provide some introductory remarks on that. Thanks, Abigail.
Great, thank you, Michael. Hello, everybody. So as Michael mentioned, the American Seed Trade Association is pleased to share a video that we put together on seed health testing and third-party lab accreditation from a US perspective. So we have a brief video that we're going to share that describes our national seed health testing system, and you'll be hearing from 3 different speakers. One, the perspective of a company who's using the National Seed Health System, another from our National Plant Protection Organization, APHIS, and then the third speaker is from Iowa State University, which is the entity that accredits the various laboratories. So we hope you enjoyed the video. Unfortunately, the speakers aren't able to participate live in this discussion because it's very late right now in the US. So would encourage you to please type in your questions in the chat, and we will make sure that your questions get answered later on in the meeting report and summary from the relevant experts. So thank you very much, and we'll cue the video.
Good day. I am Samantha Thomas of Bayer Crop Science. I'm currently the chair of the Policy and Procedures Advisory Board of the National Seed Health System. I would like to take a few minutes and talk about the impact of the NSHS to the industry. Within the US, there are more than 600,000 federal phytosanitary certificates issued annually. Many of these are issued to enable the delivery of seed lots to customers and growers throughout the world. Prior to the phytosanitary certificate being issued, companies need to make sure all required actions for additional declarations have been met. This may include official inspections or seed testing. Given the similar production and harvest windows of crops grown in the US, the need for official actions comes in peaks and can stretch the local authorities very thin. A huge impact of the third-party accreditation through National Seed Health allows for an increase in those authorized resources to support these required actions. Many seed companies operate within a quality management system, which means their processes are documented and audited to ensure consistent process execution. Part of our processes include verification or checkpoints, such that poor quality seed lots are identified early and removed from the product stream. Coupled with quality is the phytosanitary status. Often, the same processes ensuring product quality are also ensuring phytosanitary compliance to the final destination country. So where the NSHS helps the industry is really by increasing the resources, the samplers, inspectors, and labs available to perform those key phytosanitary actions so that more can be done faster with the resources that are available. Additionally, the National Seed Health System provides standard methods or procedures for these phytosanitary processes. And what that drives is really alignment and consistent phytosanitary quality across companies, whether these processes are executed by a third party or within their own company. Additionally, these methods are openly available for other countries to review and adopt via the National Seed Health website.
Hello, my name is Sarika Negi, and I'm the Accreditation Manager for the National Seed Health System. I work for the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service, which is the United States National Plant Protection Organization. Among other things, we provide export certification services to assure other countries that the plants and plant products they are receiving from the United States are free of plant pests and specified by the receiving country. An important component of the certification process is laboratory testing of plant product samples. We established the National Seed Health System in cooperation with other government and industry organizations to support the phytosanitary certification process and facilitate international seed trade for U.S. exporters. The National Seed Health System has 3 objectives. First, to develop and maintain standardized procedures for laboratory seed health testing, seed sampling, visual inspections, and phytosanitary field inspections. Second, to develop and manage a process for accrediting private and public entities to carry out the activities I just mentioned. And third, to promote international phytosanitary reform and foster fair, equitable trade. Through this program, we accredit both private and public entities, such as seed companies and university laboratories, to perform laboratory seed health testing, seed sampling, visual inspections, and phytosanitary field inspections, as I mentioned earlier. This has increased the flexibility and efficiency of the United States phytosanitary certification system to better meet the need of the seed industry and prevent the spread of seed-borne pathogens in global trade. Here's how it works. The U.S. Department of Agriculture oversees the functioning of the National Seed Health System. We have established an advisory board that directs the work of the National Seed Health System. The advisory board includes representatives from U.S. government and industry organizations that are responsible for controlling or certifying seed. As the United States Accreditation Manager, I participate along with Iowa State University's Seed Science Center Director as ex officio members. The advisory board determines specific host and pathogen combinations for which the National Seed Health System will develop and maintain test methods. Once approved by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, these methods are included under the National Seed Health System for official use in support of export phytosanitary certification. We officially designated the Iowa State University's Seed Science Center as the administrative and quality assurance unit for the program. That means they manage the day-to-day activities of the National Seed Health System on our behalf. This includes recovering the costs of services provided, managing the application process for entities seeking accreditation, training and appointing program auditors, maintaining procedures and protocols for applicants and accredited entities to ensure system integrity, and organizing and conducting training workshops to ensure that applicants and accredited entities meet the requirement of the National Seed Health System. I will now turn to my colleague, Dr. Gary Monkwold, who will provide a more detailed description of the day-to-day functioning of the National Seed Health System. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Dr. Gary Monkfold. I'm a professor of plant pathology at Iowa State University in the Seed Science Center, and I am one of the co-directors for the administration unit for the National Seed Health System. As Sarika mentioned, I'd like to give you a little more detail about the activities of the administration unit. USDA APHIS has a memorandum of understanding with the Iowa State University Seed Science Center since 2001. And as Sarika mentioned, we have oversight of the accreditation processes and method approvals for the system on behalf of USDA APHIS. We have a lean staff here consisting of two co-directors, myself and Dr. Charlie Block, program coordinator, Kelly Iverson, and administrative assistant, Cindy Robertson. One of the main functions of the administration unit is to be the main liaison with all of the external stakeholders, primarily the accredited entities, applicants for accreditation, and other stakeholders. We maintain the website, we communicate through email, a newsletter, and we give updates at key meetings that are hosted by regulatory agencies or industry organizations. We process the accreditation applications, which means we give them a preliminary review, we implement the auditing, we review the audit reports, and then we make a recommendation to the USDA APHIS accreditation manager for the final approval. We also manage the process for approving seed health testing methods. We organize validation studies for new methods or proposed changes to methods. We conduct proficiency tests for the accredited labs. And as Sarika mentioned, we also conduct training. So any of the stakeholders may propose new methods or changes to existing methods, and those are reviewed by us, and we make recommendations for those as I'll explain in the next couple of slides. I mentioned the website, and this is the most important source of information for you to learn about the details of the National Seed Health System. On the website, you'll find the online application form, the procedures for applying, all the approved methods for the 4 areas of accreditation, an official list of accredited entities and the specific tests that they are authorized to use. We provide updates on any new methods or changes, and all the policy documents for the system also can be found on the website. So this is an important resource for you to follow up with after you've seen our presentation today, and you can find many of the answers to questions that you might have on the website. It's important to understand that the results that are generated by accreditees, either for seed health testing or inspections, those are presented to an authorized certifying official, or ACO, and these are people who are local, state, or federal government officials who are authorized to issue the phytosanitary certificates. So the ACOs evaluate the results generated by the accreditees, and they use those as a basis for issuing the phytosanitary certificates. The oversight of the accreditation is really important, and that comes through the auditing of the operations of accreditees, who must be in compliance with the National Seed Health System reference manuals, which can be found on the website. And those audits are comprehensive in terms of the accreditees meeting requirements for facilities, personnel, quality management system, their specific procedures, and their training records. Non-conformances that occur during an audit can result in a failure of the application to be approved or a suspension of an existing accreditation. In addition to that, if there are issues that arise regarding shipments that were authorized under NSHS accreditation, then an investigation will take place that involves USDA APHIS and the administration unit, and then corrective actions will be recommended and enforced by USDA APHIS. And this can also include suspension of the accreditation, depending on the severity of the nonconformance. Just to give you an idea of the scope of the program, we have accredited entities across the United States who are accredited under the various 4 options. And these do include seed companies, public and private service labs, and crop improvement association. As I'm sure you're aware, seed health testing is a major component of the National Seed Health System. And this is a shot of the website showing the list of crops for which we have approved methods. And under each of these crops, you can find the list and the full protocols for all of the approved methods that are used under the NSHS system. So this is a great resource also for people outside the system to understand which are the methods that are approved under NSHS and are what we believe to be very effective for phytosanitary certification. For those who are accredited under the National Seed Health System, they must use the NSHS approved methods that are listed on the website. And if new methods are proposed, as I mentioned, they can be proposed by any stakeholders. They need to include validation data that meets specific criteria that we can also find on the website. And those methods and the data are reviewed by the administration unit and also by external reviewers. And then we make a recommendation to the National Seed Health System Policies and Procedures Advisory Board, which votes to approve or reject the methods. And then the final approval is made by USDA APHIS, at which time the method will be posted on the website, and then the accredited entities can apply to add those new methods to their accreditation. So that's a brief summary of how the administration unit contributes to the National Seed Health System. I hope you found that information useful. As I mentioned more than once, the website, which you see here on this slide, is a great resource for you to find additional information. In addition to that, we are happy to help answer other questions, either directed to me or to Sarika or to Samantha Thomas.
Thank you very much, ASTA team. I think this is very good presentation to cover the overview of the seed health accreditation system. So we have received now 2 questions already. Abigail, I'm not so sure that we can help answering the question, or shall we take that questions to be answered later?
Yeah, I see both of those questions, and we will reach out to the team in the video and make sure that we get a good response in a written format later on. But hopefully this model can be, you know, considered as perhaps an example if other countries are interested in adopting something similar.
Yeah, thank you very much, Abigail. This is a great help we have from American Seed Trade Association, actually. And I think also our share market leader can share more that the group, I mean, especially ITQ group, they are focusing on lab accreditation system to support our NPPOs in the region. I will also share more also in the Phyto Expert Consultation meeting summary about the lab accreditation program. So
Thanks, May. I mean, what I would just say on that, yes, I mean, it'd be great to get the answers on that. I think this was a good example of what we can do, because there's going to be more and more testing and more requirements that are coming out from governments, as we can see in relation to seed movement and the capacity, particularly in some of the Asia region governments to do and do the testing that's required is limited. And these kind of examples of where you can accredit third-party labs to do some of the work for you has worked in the US, and that's a great example, and also in Europe, in the Netherlands, in Australia. They're working on an ISPM right now about this kind of issue, about being able to get third parties to do work for them. That concept is really important, and as you say, May, we will continue trying to advocate for that kind of concept to be considered by governments here. And we are working to some extent in the phyto consultation, as you'll explain, just about sharing of, you know, focusing on crops in the Asia region, right, that are of interest to us as well. And getting the governments on board here will be important because we need their buy-in.
perfect. Thank you very much, Michael. And we are going to have 5 minutes online break, and we will come back to hear more presentation from OECD Scheme Program Manager, Mr. Shaba. And then you will hear the summary of 6 Phyto Expert Consultation. And please be with us till the last session, because we would like to hear your feedback on how we can prioritize the activity for ITQ committee moving forward. So next, let's have a 5 minutes short break, and we will back with the sponsor video from Eastern Seed, and then we'll start the next presentation shared by Mr. Michael again. Thank you.